sunset tonight. I don't have a job to find, and how far away tonight. I'm so tired tonight. I fall asleep when I'm home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome here. We're live tonight at ExtremeMotorsports99.com, Xfinity Series action. And that's right, your eyes don't deceive you because we're at Watkins Glen. We're about to go uphill, downhill, left, and oh yeah, did I mention right also? Because that's right, they're going to do a lot of right-hand turns here tonight. Road course racing here, and the Xfinity car, we call it the B car here at iRacing. Watkins Glen International, the Cup style track. Want to appreciate everybody coming out here tonight, because that's right, Watkins Glen, USA. Got some partly cloudy skies here tonight. Getting set here. Got a star-studded field, man, of drivers. They completed their qualifying test here. We got 28 of some bad fast boys at Extreme Motorsports. And as always, I'm Joe White up here in the booth, and I'm accompanied by Ryan W. Daniels. Ryan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, Joe. I'm actually right now in the test portion of iRacing so that I can try to remember all the different bits of this racetrack so that I will be able to give you guys the correct analysis for later.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, analysis-wise, look at that, who is on pole. Well, we talk about him a lot of times, and that's Eric Test. The Iceman from the Netherlands is what we call him. Dedication is his name, because I'm going to tell you, he's like 5-6 hours ahead of us. He's out here racing, and he definitely, man, he does really well. But right there behind him, old Nate Trito, we call him the hard charger here. And as you come up with a phrase there, the cannonball, Chris, right? Cameron Hearn?
Oh, well, that was Chris Hurlow last year, but
Oh,
yeah,
my
Cameron
bad,
Hearn
yeah.
would work for that, I suppose.
Yeah,
He is
good
rather a cannonball here as of late. He's been looking very good all season in that 67 car.
Yeah, yeah. Then look at that Bryce Centersack there in fourth, and Keith Haney. That's another one there. It's a guy, man, that can get it done here around at the top 5. So, I know you're dying to do it, Ryan. Who's your pick for tonight?
What's that? What? Say what?
Who's your pick for tonight?
Oh, I am going with Nate Trito tonight. I'm going to stick with one of the originals here at Extreme Motorsports 99, and I know that he's going to be getting some help, I'm sure, from his teammate and team owner, Jake Nichols. So, going to be pulling for him to try to pick up the win here, and I think everybody here knows your pick.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the old man there, Eric Tesh, man. He's a newcomer here, though, to Extreme. So, which I'm kind of new to the Xfinity side. Obviously, Ryan, me and you know the Cup side so well. We could sit here and rat off all those drivers pretty much there. And Tim out in the chat says, look at that, Ryan the Hurricane. There you go. Maybe
the Hurricane. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, don't patronize him. I got to deal with him all night long, Tim. Come on, man. Really?
Nah, I'll stick with the Ringer. That one works better for me. That, and it begins with an R, just like my first name. I'm going to tell you, I am very rusty at this road racing.
Well, road racing I enjoyed. I did a Sonoma race about a couple of weeks ago at Racing Freaks, Sim Racing League over there. Them guys had a phenomenal race, so I think I could probably carry you through it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just rolling around here just trying to remember the track myself, remember the challenges of it, so I can try to, help you and the fans kind of understand what these guys are going to be dealing with tonight. I was trying to be professional earlier. I had it all written down, the technical names of the corners and everything, like the professionals do on TV, and I lost my piece of paper. So, so I've not had the afternoon that I needed to have in preparations for this stream, but I am very excited for calling this road course race tonight, which, by the way, we found out, Joe, these guys are not going to have any faster pairs tonight, and there is no incident limit, so it's all going to be down to these drivers here for, the full race here at Watkins Glen.
And there's no full course cautions. That's all fault also. So definitely going to be one of them things. Got to keep up with all the action if something happens in the back or whatnot. Normally you're used to having a caution, but old Dre out there talking about run like a hurricane, wrecks in a moment. Well, he might come in like a hurricane and destroy everything. So there you go. What do you think?
Or I could just knock over Pikachu at 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, take him out. Well, I'll tell you what, man, it's going to be exciting because we got 44 laps here around this awesome track. Some of the most noted turns, obviously turn 1, heavy braking turn right there. Use a lot of brakes. The bus stop, the famous bus stop. You come through there with such great momentum and speed. And then the last final turns here, these tracks are some of just the most notable ones here that a lot of guys, man, look at and speak upon. Up the hill also as you do the twisties up that side. We'll get our feel in with this. Like I say, we're going left, we're going right, we're going uphill and downhill. Just not hopefully go backwards anytime soon.
Yeah, hopefully not. And actually, Joe, if you would like, I don't believe there's a way for you to ride shotgun with me when I'm in the test mode, but would you like me to be able to give the fans basically the onboard of a driver as I go around the track? I'm coming out of the final corner.
How are you going to do that?
Just listen. This is how. All right, folks, so I'm coming through turn 9 right now on the test. Down in second gear coming out of that corner. We're going to come to the start-finish line. These boys, all of them tonight, are probably going to be hitting upwards of 170 miles an hour by the time they get down to turn 1. You're going to have to back that car down to second gear, get that thing loaded up, come out of turn number 1, head for turn 2, the right-hander that's going to head you up into the S's of turns 3 and 4 here at Watkins Glen. Want to keep it in third gear, basically, these drivers are going to do, coming up through the hill and up through the S's, and down the long back straightaway headed for the bus stop chicane in turns 5 and 6 as we go down this back straightaway, Joe.
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you what. Well, and you say that too, that's something that I did a couple weeks ago at Sonoma. Rode around with a couple of these guys because what's going to happen here is they will get, fanned out, so to speak. And, it'll give us a chance to really analyze the track, analyze what these guys are going to do, because this is a concentrated style track. It's road course racing. It's not your typical oval, and I'm not saying you don't concentrate that either, but you really got to be on your P's and Q's here because you're always shifting, you're always braking. Now, this track's not as technical as a Sonoma or let's say a Mid-Ohio or something like that, where you're constantly on the brake and shifting. Here you're able to maybe, speed does play a factor. You got long straightaways here, Ryan, so you're able to get a little bit of speed, a little bit of rest in between those shifts.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, these guys are going to have, like you said, a couple of opportunities to really get on the throttle, and how you get through these corners is really going to, dictate how this race is run tonight, especially, for example, coming through the bus stop and in through the carousel corner up at the top of the track there in turn 7. These guys are really going to have to get to that bus stop to set themselves up well for that short shirt after the carousel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, beautiful facility here, Watkins Glen or Watkins Glen, USA, up in the New York area style that way, kind of close to where you are, Ryan. I know you're up the way, but I think we're about to get set here to do gridding. Folks, 44 laps around road course action here tonight. Hang on to your hats because it's about to be exciting out here. As let's get our rundown order here. As hang on just a second, let me get our main man because I know he was on the pole. Eric Tess, there we go. Let's get our grid in order here. It's the man on pole tonight. We call him the Iceman for the Neverlands. Eric Tess out front. The hard charger, Nate Trito right there in second. Cameron Hearn starting in third. Bryce Senasack starting in fourth. Keith Haney starting fifth. We've got Mason Witzel there starting in sixth. Waylon Lamb right there. Boo Lamb's what we call him, starting seventh. Well, John Houston, the veteran, right there in eighth. Mike Franklin in ninth. And old Nick Hunt with the one hair flying in the wind. He's out there starting to round out the top 10. As we look to the rest of this field, I always say it's star-studded because, man, it's road coursing. We got some ringers out here, so to speak, guys that definitely can get around this track. Guys, it ain't. Hey, I recognize that one name, Nicholas Cogswell. He just raced in the SRA dirt track race. Also got Matthew Wasenbach. As we go through a lot of these out here. Guys out here, man, some of them love road racing. Some of them don't.
Yeah, you definitely are going to run into the guys tonight that maybe some of them that we oftentimes see up near the front may struggle tonight here at Watkins Glen. I mean, a lot of these guys are, on iRacing, you're either a road racer, you're an oval racer, and there are guys who are good at both. Me personally, I'm not very good at road racing, and I know a couple of the drivers out there that are kind of in that same boat tonight. But going to be a good run, I think, and it's going to be all about really making it through these first couple laps. All these guys are bunched up. You talked about how these guys are going to get spread out. That's going to happen very quickly, and I'm actually going to ride at the rear of the field off the start here with the number 4 car of Mike Rominger. Because I do believe he is starting in the final position after not posting a qualifying time, and it'll be able to see in front of us if anything were to happen, for example, as they head through turn 1 on the initial start.
Yeah, because like I mentioned before, there are no full course cautions, folks. That's right. So we take this around here. One thing is we'll try to keep the P's and Q's here the best we can going through this thing. Ryan's going to help me out on that. If I see anything there, we'll definitely look at it. It's probably a good thing. You're either going to want to be out front or be very, very patient here because like you just said, you've got to... Patience is going to play a part here at this track. You don't want to push it. Attrition. There we go. There's the word that we're looking for. Sometimes you can be in the back like you mentioned Mike Rominger. He's back there, and he's probably going to just let things play out because that's how it is in road racing. You've got to hit your marks. You basically you racing other guys, obviously, but you're basically racing the track, and you're keeping concentration on what you're doing on that track, turn after turn to hit your marks.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult at this track, as you just said, to be good for the entire race. It's all in the concentration. I mean, you and me have both raced here in the truck series. I don't know if it was last season. I know you raced in it the season beforehand, but I raced at this track in the truck last year, and by far the most grueling race I've ever done. Not in terms of just having to work the pedals and stuff like that, but it's draining mentally to do this race, trying to be spot on perfect. And these guys got to do it tonight for just 44 laps. And in real life, we see these guys do almost 90 at this track. So it's amazing to think what the guys in real life in NASCAR are able to do, as well as these guys on iRacing, some of the pros and guys like that who are just able to do this all the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that one because it's definitely, you're right, it's grueling. I did it here in the trucks. It was fun, but, I talk about that attrition. I took that same concept in the truck and was able to finish like 11th and 10th out of the 20-some car field is what we've got here tonight. So I took the same concept there and applied it, and it worked out well. Is it maybe a winning combination? Maybe not, but if you're looking for a good finish and finishing the race, because here we go, coming out of the last turn here. These guys are about to storm off as that pace car comes out around the last turn there. The Porsche pace car heads off into pit road. Here we go. Eric Tesh and company, boy, they're going to put the hammer down and head off into turn number 1. They're storming. Lights out here tonight. Thunderous sound as they come across the line. Hard on the brakes, like you said, as they all get fanned out a little bit, but they're still side by side back there in the back.
Yeah, they are side by side in the back. I'm riding on board with the 55 of James Haney at the rear of the field right now. James, one of those drivers that's selected to start at the back in his 55 Toyota. Just riding out here back in the 26th position. James is just trying to, as you said, be consistent, be smart throughout this race. He's giving himself tons of room to the guys in front of him there. In case there's an accident, he's able to miss it, and these guys are headed for the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, it is a bus stop, very momentum style type turn right there. You go in there, you got to downshift before you get to it. Head off into the brakes going through it. Let that car rotate through the middle of it. Tap the brakes just really quick. Let it settle some. Get back on the throttle coming out of it again as you come back to it. Then you got that long sweeping right turn as you come out of the bus stop. Again, another famous turn there. As we're about to complete lap 1 here, folks, a 44. Eric Tesh still out front. Got Nate Trito right there. Cameron Hearn. So those 3 cars all nose to tail as they form out of here. The last turn to complete lap number 1.
Yeah, these guys are looking really good, being able to keep it clean so far. And, you know, this race can pay big dividends, as you said, just being smart and just trying to outlast the rest of these guys tonight. A guy, for example, like maybe David Elliott, maybe not the best here at a road course, but David in the 28 just taking his time right now here further back in the field, and he'll be looking to see if anybody makes a mistake. David's been pretty good so far this season. Look in his race attempts and had a couple of good runs. Probably looking just to maintain the points here tonight at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it is. Right now, riding along with Waylon Lamb, he has did an area. Passing is one thing that you've got to set up here. That's the thing about road racing. You have to set the pass up here. It's not so much forcing a pass. You can do that, but usually going to end up in disaster. We saw right there he made a pass on John Houston. John came out of the hill up there through the twisties and got loose on the top side. That is a passing point before the bus stop. You got to get it done before then because you can dive it down going in there, and he made that pass look good. There's only a few areas here that you can get it done. Obviously, the last turn here is one of those that you're going to see a lot of guys make that last pass.
Yeah, these guys are going to try, and it's as you say, the main passing points on this track really are going through the carousel out of the bus stop. If you can set somebody up before the bus stop, you may be able to get a good run on them on the exit of the bus stop chicane there and be able to try to make a pass on them and down that short chute as they head for turns 8 and 9. But you're right, the final corner and sometimes even up through the S's are a really good place to try to pass somebody, but doing it up through the S's, you have to trust that driver that you're racing against.
Yeah, it is, because that's such a hard, difficult area to do. As I say, if you come up on the top side of those S's, if you get that momentum coming off there, if you hit it just right, you're going to get the momentum because you shift that thing. You're in 4th gear, you hammer down coming out up there on the top side of the hill, and you're getting it going. Right now, these guys very patient out here, but it's still got a good battle between Waylon Lamb there and John Houston. He's not giving up on the back end of him. So, you know, when we talk about, here's the mentality we got to have when it comes to road racing, though, Ryan, as opposed to oval. Guys out here look at it, and a second lead, or let's say even more than that, a 2 or 3 second lead in road racing is not a lot. That can be made up in one turn, one slip right there. So if a guy has a big lead, you're thinking, oh, wow, he's just gone, setting pace. Not necessarily, because he actually can make one slip up in a turn, and there you go, the guy behind him's right on his back deck lid. And that's the thing. It's just patience, watching the guy in front of you, letting him make a mistake.
Yeah, that's definitely true as well. You know, being 2 seconds back necessarily isn't all that far when you come to a road course like this. As you said, you're still within striking distance, and the person in front of you has to be aware of that. Right now, I'm riding on board with the 51 of Davis Richards. He came out of the bus stop on the last lap there and got really loose on the exit of the corner, actually hit the outside retaining wall, was able to save it. Davis, a little bit of rear end damage on the 51 right now, running in the 20th spot.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mason King just almost had his hands full right there. The car in front of him had to get loose. That's what we're talking about. He took too much speed going into the bus stop there. Had to get heavy on the binders right before it and had to run right through there and got a, they do have off-track penalties here, by the way, folks, so you have to watch that. That's the difference in that. Road racing, but yeah, Mason had to make a quick adjustment there going into the bus stop, and that's how things can happen so fast here, especially as close as these guys are. But Eric Tess right now, the man up front, he's setting pace.
Yeah, he is, Eric, looking good out in front right now. He's got himself a 1.3 second lead over Nate Trito, who's doing all he can to run him down, and not too far behind Nate is the 67 of Cameron Hearn, who has looked very strong early on in this season. Cameron just looking to come out of here with a lot of good points, and right now I do believe, other than, not other than Eric, because I know Eric's made a couple starts here in the Xfinity Series, but I do believe that Cameron Hearn is the highest running driver that has made all the starts so far, so he would be putting himself in a good points position to be running third right now, right on the bumper of the 97 of Nate Trito.
Yeah, it is now. You know, Eric, he's had a few connection issues, and obviously we all know about those. He's made a lot of the starts. Finishes has been his biggest thing. Obviously, if he pulls out a win here, it could qualify him for that chase because he has made a lot of starts here. Don't know how many, but I know he's made a lot. It's just his finishes, and obviously with the connection issues and stuff, you can't control that. But I tell you what, he's crossing the line this time by, and I'm going to do something here I love doing. I'm going to ride with him around this one lap here as he heads off into turn number one. You see he goes off there too. I know, Ryan, you were talking about earlier, as he heads up the hill here. We're riding here on what I call the dash cam, folks. I like doing this. Did it at Sonoma. Ride with the leader up here. You see him go to the left, the right turns up there as he hammers up there. He's in fourth gear right now. He's giving it all he can got before he goes to the bus stop here. 170 some mile an hour before he downshifts and hits it into third. Third, slightly tap a brake right here to set the car up as you're coming through the bus stop. You want to come out of there, like I say, over 100 mile an hour. He's still in third for the long right sweeping turn here. Right-hander right there. He's very, very methodically using that throttle as he comes out of that turn wide open. You got to wait till that car gets straight before you put the hammer down. He's in fourth gear, almost 170, 160 some before he's back down in third. Coming out of the second to the last turn here. Lets it go high. Lets the car drift a little bit. Stays in third gear. Definitely don't want to shift too much if you don't have to. Use as little brake as you have to. Let the car glide. Comes out of the last turn here. And that's a ride along with our leader, Eric Tess, to kind of see just how much work these guys do in these cars.
Yeah, and that's just, that's just Eric's point of view, and Eric is, as you mentioned, very good at these road course races. Eric does run some of the road racing series here on iRacing in some of the GT3 cars, so if you were looking for a car that's pretty close to what a GT car is going to somewhat feel like, a stock car is probably the closest thing. Obviously, a GT car much more designed for a race like this than the stock cars are, but nonetheless, the two are rather comparable in the way that they shift and certain things like that. So Eric, not too much of a surprise to see him have this early lead, but Nate Trito, we know he can be strong here at these road courses, and like we said before, Cameron Hearn right now is putting in some really good lap times. He just can't seem to get himself around that 97, and I believe that's actually costing him time to trying to catch up to Eric Tesh.
Well, it's like we said, catching a guy, passing him is two different things here at the road side of things, because you have got to set him up, and you got to set him up the right turn. But there we go, as we talk about it, he looked on the inside for a second. Maybe we'll hear on the last turn. This is a place where you see a lot of passing opportunity. If he can get that run coming into turn number one, let's see if he dives that thing down there. He's not quite close enough. He's about a car length. He needs to be right there on his back deck lid, Ryan, before to make that dive-in move. If he made it now, he'd probably take both of them out because it's such a heavy braking point.
Yeah, it is. And, it's very tough. And I did want to report that further back in the field, Matt Walzenbach, I don't know when it happened exactly, but that 29 has been off track, and it was a very big hit for the 29. He is in the pits right now. Matt Walzenbach is at least one lap down in that 29 machine.
I hate to see that. Well, I'll tell you what, though, Ryan, man, these guys are pretty fanned out. I love doing this, too. Let's do a run down here of the field. Wrong camera angle there. Hang on a minute. I'll get us to the right one. Maybe. One day. There we go.
1,000 years later.
Yeah. I remember that. That was funny. All right, well, let's do a rundown here, man, of our field. Kind of spread out here a little bit in the road course action. Well, out front, obviously, we know the Iceman from the Neverlands, Eric Tesh. He's got the hooligan gang. That's what I like calling it, out front in that 96 machine. Nate Trito, the hard charger, right there in second. Cameron Hearn all over the back deck lid of him in third. Mason Witzel running right there in that number 99 machine in fourth. Bryce Senesac, he's sitting there in fifth. Now, he's got his hands full with old Keith Haney right there in sixth spot. Waylon Lamb, he's been able to hang on to it on the Camp Joe machine. And seventh, John Houston, the crafty veteran out here, sitting in eighth spot. Mike Franklin right there in ninth. Nick Hunt, one hair flying in the wind machine. He's sitting there in the 10th place spot. 11th is old Mason Kane. Haven't seen him in a while. Said he's been having some connection issues and whatnot. And there's another guy right behind him in the 12th spot. Matt Hoover, already won one this season. Came over here, man, has done great things so far. Dwayne Cumberson sitting right there in the 13th spot. Ethan Kurtz, well, looks like he's already had a run in with the wall once or twice there as he sits in the 14th. Tyler C. Daniels right there in the 15th. Colton Lane, that's another one to get the job done, sitting in 16th. Davis Richards right there, another one with the hub machine out there running 17th. Mike Rominger, we call him Mr. Extreme himself, sitting in 18th. Aiden Young right there, nice Cincy machine he's got running out there, running in the 19th spot. Daniel Haney got that 81 machine right there in the number 20th. David Elliott sitting 21st. Old Richie Evans right here in the 22nd. Nicholas Caldwell, now he just did some awesome racing over at SRA in the dirt a little bit ago. He's got an insane machine out there running in the 22nd position. And then 23rd, James Haney. And old Ryan Broderick's in the pits right now. Hate to see that, sitting 25th. Like I said, Matthew Wazenbach also sitting in 26th. Kind of rounds out our field right there as it takes us back up front to this battle here for second place.
Yeah, and while we do have good battles, we may want to go back and actually take a look at what happened with Matthew Broderick back on lap 8. The 32 was trying to make the pass on Richie Evans, and it looks like may have just gotten in there too hard and locked it up, kind of hooked the car to the right and went through the gravel and ate the outside safer barrier.
All right, let's see if I can't go back far enough here and check this out here for the viewers.
It was lap 8 going into the second to last corner.
All right, here we go. All right, got it. Yeah, that's the only problem when I do the replays. It don't go on 8 on laps. It goes back on my time.
Right.
So I have to go back on time. But here we go. They're side by side. Him and Ethan Kurtz, it looks like. Oh, yeah, they got together going to turn. I guess that's Ethan Kurtz, right? Number 3.
It was the 3 of Richie Evans. It looked like to me.
Yep. Yeah, 3 of Richie Evans. Yeah, and they tried to go in the second to last turn there, got together with each other, hard braking area. Not an area you want to pass at either. And he just went head first right in a wall, hard lick. Hate to see it. And that's another thing, folks. We talked about it. No full course cautions here. So, action, we've got to kind of catch it when we can because it definitely will go fast and furious.
Well, at least we were able to catch something there. We know how much the fans like to see the wrecks and the accidents every now and again. So there you go, guys. We're trying.
Watch Ryan Daniels race.
Yes. Anytime I'm on the track, you are guaranteed at least one caution.
Oh, got to give Ryan a hard time. Man, I ain't talked to him in a while, man. I tell you.
Okay, never. I was gonna say something, but I saw something that looked funny.
I hear you. Well, I tell you what, man, as we said that, look at Cameron Hearn, set him up right, made that pass for the second spot. So now let's see, you were talking about it. Let's see if Cameron Hearn can run down that man up front, Eric Tess. Now, folks, you might look at it and say, well, man, that's 5.5 seconds. True, but in road racing, that can be made up in a matter of laps.
Yeah, it can, and it's really just about how much these guys are able to save their tires. It's one of those other things that road course racers are typically good at, is tire conservation, because you need to be able to make those tires work for you in road racing. It's not like ovals where, you're just going to the left as hard as you can. In road racing, those tires are constantly scrubbing in opposite directions, which makes the grip, transfer differently over everybody's tires. So right now, it looks like Cameron Hearn has done a really good job of, as hard as he's been racing, been able to stay consistent. But for example, Eric Tesch's tires are probably going to be a lot less abused than the 67 because Eric hasn't had to pass anybody. He's just led from the drop of the green, and he's got such a big gap right now at 6 seconds. He's able to just probably be able to take it easy a little bit, run out in front, and it looks like we may also have a couple of cars who are coming to the pits or have come to the pits before. The 88 of John Houston, I saw him pulling out of the pit lane. He currently runs in the 17th spot, and not far behind him as well, Ethan Kurtz looks like he may have gotten into an accident at some point. You talked about the front end of that 20 looked all tore up. He is now 2 laps down in the 24th position as well.
Yeah, it is. You know, that's what I'm saying. Some of the action that goes along here was riding along there with Cameron Hearns. He goes to work in his office inside that car. Looked really good. Man, I'll tell you what, it's an awesome facility here at Watkins Glen. That's right, Watkins Glen International Speedway, folks. ExtremeMotorsports99.com, Xfinity Series action. I want to appreciate everybody coming out here because, hey, with this road course excitement here, we call them the B cars. I'll tell you what, you talk about tires. We are at lap 13. That's another thing we haven't really talked. You know, you were mentioning about there, Ryan. The fuel and tires are a lot different here. You can probably only go. I'm gonna estimate right off the top of my head, 15, 18 laps maybe before you're gonna have to want to think about taking a pit stop.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not entirely sure what it converts to here at Watkins Glen. I know that these guys run about 65% of the actual full fuel load that a normal Xfinity car would run, so I have to agree with you that it's probably going to be around, I would say, anywhere between 15 and 20 laps or so. But, you know, it's another one of those things. This is the type of racetrack that these guys have that figured out. We may see some guys like John Houston. We mentioned he already hit the pits. A lot of times what you will see road racing drivers do, or just guys at these road courses do, they work the race backwards. The shortest run that you usually want to have on tires is your first run, the shortest run you want to have on tires usually is the last run on an oval. In road racing, that's completely different. You want your shortest run to be on your first set of tires so you can be the first one to come in and have fresh tires and try to make it to the end and make up the track position on the new tires. So that looks to be the strategy, for example, of the 88, working the race backwards, and other guys like Eric Tesh right now being out in front. He's kind of forced his hand to run the race at the normal way and just coming in when he's low on fuel and needs to get that car some fresh tires.
Well, I tell you what, he's stretching that lead out of 6.4 seconds right now, so he's definitely doing what he has to do up front there. And behind him, Cameron Hearn. We saw Cameron and Nate come through the bus stop right there. Both of them took different entries into it. And Cameron almost clipped that grass as he went to the middle. And old Nate, he clipped the grass as he went to the outside of it. So right now, it's a very patient style, typical road race here, folks. A lot of guys, man, love road racing. And if guys who are really into road racing understand what's going on. Now, oval guys, I'm going to say it, probably are coming here going, what in the world? They're not doing anything but just running the line. Road racing is more of a strategic style racing. It is a set up your driver. It's more of that's the wrong word to use, but more of an intelligent style of racing, so to speak. You have to use more of the thinking. Not to say that none racing isn't thinking, but you have to use more of, when am I going to pass this guy? When am I going to be the right place to do it without causing a big wreck?
Yeah, I think the word you were looking for there was it's a very tactical race.
You go. Yeah.
You want to have somebody who's very good at just planning the race out, being smart, be able to keep a level head in the car, do all the right things. Like right now, Eric Tesh he's the one that's doing the job of that right now, working his way around the lap traffic, trying to get around the 27 of Nicholas Caldwell as they go through turn one. Nicholas gave him plenty of room, and the next car that Eric's going to have to worry about passing now is quite a distance ahead, is the 81 of Daniel Haney, who is just now slowing down to go into the bus stop. Eric is just now coming out of the S's at the top of the hill for out of turns 3 and 4.
Well, even though he's modulating through all that lap traffic, he is still pulling away, folks. He's got an 8.5, so he is putting down some bad fast times here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com Xfinity Series here for the Watkins Glen. I tell you what, you're right. It is two different animals there, John. Absolutely. And we got a fan out there for Nicholas Caldwell. Absolutely, still running in the 22nd spot. A good battle back here, though, between Matt Hoover, Mike Franklin, them guys, and Waylon. All three of them right there, nose to tail. They were jockeying around a little bit here. It's been a pretty good race so far.
Yeah, it has been a very good race, and we're seeing a lot of different drivers have good runs. You just mentioned Mike Franklin. Mike is one of the biggest movers of this race so far. He started in the 14th spot. He's worked his way up to 8th, and obviously looking for more, racing there with the 13 of Matt Hoover and the 50 of Waylon Lamb. And not too far behind him as well, Nick Hunt running in the 10th spot. He started in the 17th position. So a lot of good runs so far by some of these guys who are just able to be consistent and be smart and trying to get up front. But nobody has been able to move up as high as Matt Hoover, who started 25th, and he finds himself in the 7th spot. So Matt has really lit it up so far in that 13 machine.
You sure Mike Franklin was in the 14th?
Yes.
Because I saw him it started 9th.
Yes, I read the wrong line.
My bad. I was just making sure
in
my
practice.
Okay,
He was 9th on the grid. That was my bad. So all those things I just said were all lies.
I'm just sitting here going, uh-oh, is my thing off? What's wrong? Something's wrong.
Yes,
Ryan's
I
got me worried.
apologize. Everything I just said was a lie. The two biggest movers of the race so far, refresh, is the 13 of Matt Hoover, who started 25th, and he is running 7th. And the next biggest mover is Mike Rominger, who started in the 27th spot, and he is running 13th.
There you go. Yeah, Matt Hoover definitely started. That's fine, but I was just making sure. I was looking at my thing going, all right, something awful on my thing down there. Wait a minute, something Ryan see? Because I know you see it off the iRacing data, and I'm going, well, he'd have more accurate data. Well, it should be. My thing runs off the iRacing too, but hey, I was making sure. But you're right, Matt Hoover definitely started. I didn't notice that either myself. Started 25th, and I'm currently up in the 7th. Now, that's a big move right there, hard charge to the front. That is phenomenal, to say the least, in this short amount of time at 18 laps. Hey, he could be there at the end if he keeps pacing himself like this, because he's putting down some pretty good times. Last lap was a minute 13, and he's running a minute 13 laps on par with Eric Tesh's minute 13s also. And got to throw this out there, Ryan. Remember, Matt Hoover and Eric Tesh used to race together.
And actually, you're right. They do still race together. They are on the same team here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com. They do race together, so he may be getting some assistance or may have gotten some pointers from Eric before the race. And if that is the case, it's definitely paying off so far for the 13 machine of Matt Hoover. But I do just want to update something I just saw. The 132 of Mason Kane spun out coming out of the final corner there on the front straightaway. Front end of that 132 was all tore up on the left-hand side, but he has been able to get it back going and is now running in the about the 16th spot behind John Houston.
Well, let's see if we can't go back here on the replay and catch what happened to him here. Like I said, that's the thing, folks. There's no full course caution, so Ryan's out here looking throughout the field, trying to check out what's going on. I see the damage on his left-hand side. Was it on the left-hand or right-hand side?
It's on the left side of his car.
All right.
I don't know if he got into the wall at some point before. I just saw that he had spun.
Okay. Well, might be too far back for me to go all the way back that far. I tried to go back about several laps, so either way, like I said, that's road course racing. Sometimes we can catch everything that's going on here. There's such a big field here. We start with 28 cars right now, and it's awesome right now.
Yeah, it's been going really, really good right now. And the 132 of Mason Kane just hit pit road. He is going to get some of that damage repaired on the 132 and probably get some fresh tires after that spin. So at some point here, these guys that are pitting are going to have to force the hand of a guy like Eric Tesh, because I understand that he has a 12-point lead over Cameron Hearn. But you can make that up on fresh tires. So really, I think it'll be kind of when one of these top 5 cars or so hit pit lane is when Eric's going to have to think about coming in. And obviously, if Eric comes in, everybody's going to follow him as soon as they can.
Well, here's the thing is Eric's laying down lap times on 113s. All the other guys are too, but he is almost 5/10 faster around this track than everyone else. So all that road course racing he's done's paying off big right here. Definitely paying big dividends here at Watkins Glen International Speedway for ExtremeMotorsports99.com. And folks, if you like this, Hey, me and Ryan's got more of it tomorrow. We got the Cup cars, the big boys of Extreme Motorsports. You'll see a lot of these drivers out there tomorrow night also, but you're also going to see some of the best here of Extreme. Power around the monster car around here. Heavy speeds, a lot more power. Got to be a little bit more delicate, so to speak, on the throttle out there. So definitely look forward to that as Eric Tesh still out front commanding this thing.
Yes, and he is starting to lap some cars that are getting faster and faster. Right now, catching up to the back of the number 3 is the next closest vehicle of Richie Evans, and the next one in front of him will be the number 9 of Aiden Young. But Eric, as he continues to get through the field, you are going to start finding guys who are better and better. Not to say that anybody's at a disadvantage or that guys don't know how to do this as good as others, but you will find that the better road racers at this point will finally, or not finally, but will sort of be up near top 15, top 10, and the 96 is about to start cracking, lapping cars right around the 19th spot. So he's going to start getting to guys where they may even be racing in groups, and he's really going to have to be careful having to work his way around them.
Yeah, you got to be very, very patient here when you get around lap cars, and the lap cars have to be very, very sportsmanlike to understand that that's the leader behind him, and he is a lot faster here because right now he's trying to work around Richie Evans, which he gives him that outside lane there. So very good communication here on the part as he heads into turn number 1, kind of riding on this dash cam again. I like the dash cam view here at road courses. Gives a good idea of what these guys get to go through here. So we see him working through all this lap traffic. And yes, Dre, I did see what you wrote.
No, we are not starting that. Don't encourage him. If that becomes a thing, I'm going to be so upset.
Oh, man. All right, we'll leave it alone.
It is very funny. I will give him credit. And I encourage people, if you have the opportunity this Friday, to check out Dave Everly's truck at TRL, because he is just a master of the comedy. He really is.
Yeah, he's a master.
I did see a car go off track. I think it might have been the 3 in the bus stop.
If it was, he was lapped down.
Yes, he is.
Okay. But Cameron Turner is still trying to maintain up there. It's going to be interesting to see when those top guys finally come into pits. They already proved me wrong. I said 15, 18 laps. They're out there 22 already. So at this point, and as we see the 81 car go out there mowing the grass a little bit, at this point, you almost can just go one pit stop and take it.
Well, we talked about it, and actually right now I'm trying to fix my iRacing, but the 67 and the 97 have both come to the pit lane, and Keith Haney has stayed out, as has Eric Tesh, so I would say we're going to see Eric hit pit lane within the next couple laps, and we were both wrong in our predictions. The 96 is currently on lap 23, so apparently these guys can go further than I thought they could.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you're right. I was way off. So they definitely can. I'm going to say we're going to see Eric Tesh probably come in this time as he sees those guys out there, even though he was laying down some bad, fast times out there. So we're going to see what happens here. And in the meantime, he's going through lap traffic. So let's see. Eric's coming out of the last turn here. Let's see if he comes into pits. Yep. Here he goes. He's seen enough. He's coming in there. He's going to get his 4 tires. That's going to put him, Ryan, I'm going to say pretty much could go the whole entire way.
Yeah, by stopping at this point, yes, Eric this has definitely become a one-stop race for everybody. The only guys that I would say maybe not a one-stop race anymore, we saw the 88 pit earlier. John Houston has just made a pass on Mike Rominger, and I believe that's going to put that's going to put John up to the 9th spot, I believe, right now. And once all these pit stops cycle out, John Houston may be one of the other cars that may need to stop again, but I'm not sure.
Well, we're seeing Cameron Hearn come out of the last turn here. Let's see how close he will be to Eric Tesh here as Eric is making his pit stop. Should be coming off a pit lane as it's going to be a drag race here to try to get to him as Cameron's coming in the first turn. Eric should be up at the top of the hill by now. So, yeah, that's a huge difference right there of 35 seconds. He's almost half a lap behind that man. So, wow.
Yeah, that's going to cycle through shortly. That'll pick up. The 35-second deficit is what it was when the leader, Eric Tesh, crossed the line in the pit lane compared to when the 67 got there. So it'll be interesting, as you said, to see once they both come across the line this time, if the 67 made anything up at all, or if Eric was able to have such a good pit stop that he was able to maintain that gap, even pitting a lap later. But you're right, Eric Tesh right now already setting up to come into turn 9 in the last corner, and Cameron Hearn is now just breaking into turn number 8.
Yes, he is, and that's the thing. And also, you know, we know he's from the Netherlands. I call it Netherlands, but either way, we know he's from there. And John Marine out there has found out that he actually works at the Fun Circus Park, Zandervoort.
Zandervoort.
Yeah, that's right, Zandervoort. I've heard it said before, but I can't pronounce it either way.
It's because I watch F1.
All right, good deal.
9 seconds, wow.
That's still a huge, huge lead there. I mean, now, we say that, and again, if Eric messes up, and I don't want to go ahead and say, hey, look, he's out there, man, and blazing the field. He is. The problem is, he's had some connection issues. I've seen him get up here and run well in races, and all of a sudden, towards the end, drop connection. Folks, hey, we're working on a sim here. Anything can happen, internet and all that. I would hate for a man to dominate like that, something like that happen to him. Definitely be unfortunate because he is setting pace here and doing very well out front.
Yeah, it would definitely be unfortunate, but right now, you know, obviously we talked about it. When the 67 and those guys pit, would they be able to make up time? And certainly they have. It was a 16-second deficit. Eric Tesh back to Cameron Hearn when the pit stops began. Now that they're basically only 1 lap and tires apart and have it down less than 10, it'll be interesting to see if on fresher tires if Cameron is able to start to try to catch Eric, but he did lose a 10.5 on that last lap, and right now, while Eric has clean track in front of him, Cameron is having to work his way around some of these lap cars. The first one in front of him right now is the 9 of Aiden Young, and then in front of Aiden is the 28 of David Elliott.
Well, you see the 4 car there. Mike Rominger just came out of the pits. He came out right there between Cameron Hearn and Nate Trito, so it puts him right there. And Dave out there, he's all excited because he's running this little MX-5 car around Lime Rock. He's like, woohoo, I turned a fast lap. Yeah, keep trying. Good job, yeah. Well, we see right there, good sportsmanship by old Mike Rominger. He understands the position that he's in, and lets Mason Wetzel go right there, the 4th place machine, because he's trying to battle down and run down Cameron Hearn, who was there in 3rd. So definitely some good. That's another thing we'll talk about here at the Extreme. Got a lot of good, constant professionals here. The guys made a good sportsmanship here. The rules here, a lot of guys love them. Very, very strict on the rules. They abide by the rules. No, hey, if you're the fan favorite, guess what? You break a rule, you still get caught, still get penalized over it. So it's kind of cool because got some great admins here, and the admins for the Xfinity series is old Don Kidder, Ken Lade, Ladd, and Vern Bradley's up there. And I see Ryan Keese is in there also, so I don't know if Vern has moved up into doing this. I know he does the Monday night, but and John Houston and Nick Hunt, they do the Tuesday night. Obviously Rick, and then I think he still has Don with him on the Thursday night, but I do know Rick does mostly on the Thursday there in the Cup side. And obviously you got us in the booth on Wednesday and Thursday. You got old Dre, man. I call him Dre, Dave Everly there with his man Shula there on Monday and Tuesday night. So full thing, of course, and going to be some interesting things been out here as a good road course racing so far, Ryan.
Yeah, and we actually have a really good battle right now for the 6th and 7th position. The 09 and the 13 are fighting there. Bryce Senesac and Matt Hoover.
Yeah, they are. Well, you talk about that battle. Look at Nick Hunt and Dwayne Cumberson. They're right there on top of each other. Had to slow up a little bit for the lap car that came out of the pit stop right there. But right now, Dwayne Cumberson's right there on his back deck lid. So you're right. Sometimes there's action going on all over this track, and it's hard to keep up with it. I was just watching this one as they head off through the bus stop. I don't know if Dwayne has a little faster car, but you could just see the rear end of that machine, Ryan. I don't know if you saw what I saw. When they come through that bus stop, and they hit that curve, it jumps that suspension out. I heard this said one time, these cars take such a beating at these racetracks and are still able to maintain and hold together.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I want to just say that was a battle between the 09 and the 13. Matt Hoover tried to get on the brakes, got the right side tires into the grass going into turn 8, couldn't stop, spun out, and it had a big moment with the 50 of Waylon Lamb. The 13 was trying to get back on the track. Waylon did everything he could to get around him and just missed that 13 there just about maybe 15, 20 seconds ago if you want to try to get back on the replay.
Well, we'll go back 40 seconds and see what happens.
Yeah, it was on the 13.
Oh, yeah. There he is. He's in the grass. He's out weeding. All right, here we go. We'll go back here. We see old Matt Hoover's right there behind the 09 of Bryce Senesac. They're going through the bus stop here. Like I say, you got to be very tricky. Not a place to pass in the bus stop. That's not a passing area, and neither is this long sweeping right-hand turn. Now, you could set them up for a pass coming out of that turn if you can get it done close enough. You're going to have to get it done before you get in here, and I think that's what he tried to do. Outside might not be the place. Inside was the better area here because braking, oh yeah, he just overbroke that, and wow, just went right into the grass. Barely just taps the wall just a little bit. Wow, hate to see that part.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate, but the good news for the 13, he was actually, there was such a big gap between the two that were battling near the 09 and the 13 that even with the spin, the 13 of Matt Hoover able to get back on track, right back in the same position he was in. He now has a 13-second gap back to, or ahead of him to the 09 of Bryce Senesac, who he was battling, but was able to get back around the number 50 of Waylon Lamb and is trying to, once again, get his way back up to the Fast 6.
Yep, well, I tell you what, John, it's kind of interesting that you talk about that because I have run the GT3 cars, which are pretty much cars that are set up for road racing. Power-wise, probably about as powerful as this car is and whatnot. A lot more stable, though, because they are built for road racing. On the Cup circuit, they run about the same time these cars are running. You mentioned the boot. The boot, they run about a minute 40-some seconds. So that would give you an idea of what these Cup cars would run around here, Xfinity cars, so to speak, would run if they added the boot on. It adds about another 20 to 25 seconds to this whole course going through there, maybe 30 at tops, onto this course because it is as what you do is you take that hard left turn, you go down a hill, hit the right, come up the hill of the boot. That's what they call it. The boot is kind of a wrapped around style. Up the hill, you take another sharp right-hander up there, come up the hill, and you take another left-hander as you head off into the second to the last turn there. So it's an add-on to this track that really only the Grand Prix drivers and the GT3 road-style guys run at here.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see how that would look in these Cup cars, but or not in these Cup cars, in any of these stock cars. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely more of a GT and other style road racing addition to this track that you don't normally see with this style of racing.
No, absolutely. And I tell you what, a man up front, Eric Tesh, he's led it from the green flag on here, folks, and has just put down some tremendous blazing times up there in that 96 machine. He's ran a 1:12.9. Now, I did see old Cameron Hearn. He put down and put in a good time that last time, a little faster than Eric up there. I don't know if Eric had to go through a lap car, but right now Eric's got 12-second lead over Cameron Hearn in second spot. And so riding here with Nick Hunt in the 10th spot, he is still battling there with Dwayne Cumberson, who is right there on his back deck lid.
Yeah, and we once again just had a crash there between the 27 and the 4 car back in turn number 1.
Ouch. Well, I'll tell you what, I hate to see that. 4 car, which would be Mike Rominger.
Yep.
Well, he's rolling. So let's
They're
see
both rolling, but they did both spin. And the 27 has a ton of front-end damage.
Oh, yep. We caught the spin right there. Looks like turn 1's where they got tangled up at. So let's go on by here. That's right. The Iceman for the Netherlands, Eric Tesh. Watching this replay here of what happened with Mike Rominger. As like you said, he's coming up there on the... looks like he's coming up on that car. He's a little bit away from him. Probably going to catch him in turn 1. And we were talking about before, if you're not close enough to him in turn number 1, the problem with that is is you're not going to make that pass and you can end up wiping each other out. Let's see if he gets close enough as they're coming across the line. Looks like he's giving him that outside lane. He's just not able to make the move, and when he does, oh yeah, that's what I figured. Both of them was braking and braking. The 27 looked like he just came up there, and they just got contact and spun each other. That's just a typical road race incident right there. Two guys going the same real estate in the turn.
Yeah, especially this late in the race here. We are right now on lap 32. The wear and tear is starting to set in, not just for these drivers, but for these cars. The brakes are hot. The tires are starting to give up a little bit, and just one of those things that might have contributed to it. And you're right, the 27 maybe got a little bit too far to the inside there. Mike trying to make it work on the outside, trying to get around him, and just wrong place, wrong time for Mike Rominger when the 27 unfortunately came back up. He just wasn't able to get it slowed down enough to make the first turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're still riding here with Nick Hunt, man, and Dwayne Cumberson, because these two guys, man, have still been right there, because if one of these guys makes a mistake, the other one's going to be there close enough to pounce on it. Now, they got Eric Tesh right there coming up behind them, so they're going to have to deal with, are they going to go a lap down? Are they going to keep battling? As Dwayne is looking on the inside, he might try to set him up for the pass here. As he looked there for a second, peeked on the inside, he might, if he can get close enough here, he can outbrake him going into the turn here.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, it's like we mentioned earlier, Eric continuing to lap now. You just said it, about to lap inside the top 10 right now, or just starting to lap the top 10 cars whenever he does pass the 00 of Nick Hunt. So, but these guys do have the right to continue to battle, even though the leader is coming, so it will be interesting. Are these guys going to kind of let it settle right now, let Eric go by, or is Eric going to have to wait for this battle to kind of work its way out in front of him?
Yeah, it is. Well, just look at the lap times, 1:12.8 last lap to these guys, 1:14. Eric Tesh is over 2 seconds faster on the track. It would be a matter of time before he got there, but he still has to be patient. We're right inside here. Watch that man just work that steering wheel around this whole entire track here, Watkins Glen International Speedway. Dwayne Cumberson, he goes into second gear all the way down through the bus stop. So he's yanking that thing down even further than I would, probably using a little bit of engine braking. He goes on the inside. That's a place to pass if he can make it happen. Like you said, Eric Tesh has got it, so he's definitely on the inside. If he can hold it right there, he might be able to make that pass.
Yeah, he did, and Eric got a big run coming out of the carousel there. Sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off. He got a huge run, and Eric, whoa, he locked up the rear brakes there, able to hang on to it. He got a little squirrely going there into turn 8, and now trying to make the pass on Nick Hunt on the final corner here, turn 9, coming back to the start-finish line. Looks like with the run he has, he should be able to do it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when they get down to turn number 1.
Well, I tell you what, right there was a scary moment for a leader. That's what you hate to be as a leader, as he goes on the inside of Nick Hunt, turn 1. He understands, I got to get away from here. I got to go. Let these guys, man, continue with their battle, what they're doing, because it is an awesome battle here for the 10th and 11th spot. Thing about it is, I'm the leader of the race. I can't sit back here and risk these two guys getting into each other. Not to say that they would, but can't risk it sitting back here, and I got to go. So very, very aggressive, gutsy call move right there by the leader, Eric Tesh.
Yeah, but a good job by Eric to get around there safely as well, and a good job by these guys being the 00 and the 1 car of Nick Hunt and Dwayne Culberson, able to give Eric enough room to get around them, and they were able to continue their battle, as you said. So, as if nothing ever happened there, Eric is just going to continue to ride off into the sunset for now with virtually nobody around him to apply any pressure, and these two can continue to battle to see who's going to finish inside the top 10.
I tell you what, as a driver, you're sitting out there like that, and you're sitting going, boy, I'm dominating. I just don't want anything to happen out here. Everything's going so perfect. You're just waiting for that one cloud of thunderstorm to pop up there, man, and rain on your parade, so to speak, here. And hopefully that won't happen to Eric Tesh, because he has looked phenomenal out there, the Iceman for the Netherlands, with the hooligan machine. That's what I call it. That's right, the drifting car. As old Nick Hunt goes into turn 1 heavy, I don't know if Dwayne's going to be close enough to capitalize on it, but they're going to go side to side up the hill. Not a good idea. Got to settle this thing out here or be very patient. If not, well, that's a good battle between them two cars.
Yeah, they're doing very good right now, both the 1 and the 00. Very good, respectful racing. And you're right, we talked early on in this race. You can try to pass up through the S's because it's kind of wide, but it's very treacherous if you get off that racing line, and it can get very loose up there with the way that you have to jack that car from the left to the right. So good job by both of them to sort it out, get through there, continue to battle. And Dwayne, at this point, he saw the 0-0 go off the line in turn number 1. He's got to be thinking, what do I have to do to get around the 0-0 of Nick Hunt?
Yeah, Nick Hunt's doing a phenomenal job in that 10th spot. Boy, I tell you what, awesome. You're right, like I said, an awesome race. You've really got to be a road racing fanatic, so to speak. I loved it, done it for a while. And, John, you asked about those questions earlier. The only reason I knew those lap times is because, well, I came from road racing, and I raced a lot of GT3s, a lot. And I did a lot of time on this track. And I knew, and we raced the boot, we've raced off the boot. So I've done it both ways, and I knew the time difference. I knew what it takes time-wise. Usually around a 141, 144 is what we would clock. In between 143s is what we'd clock on it here around with the boot with a GT3 style car. So it kind of gives you an indication of what these cars would do. And also without the boot, we would be running about 112, 113, roughly give or take in that area. So GT3 cars, even though now they're going to feel a lot more planted than these things are, but yet the time-wise is still the same.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And as far as it comes with, like, road racing to this, and obviously you mentioned, Joe, you have experienced road racing both on here on iRacing and elsewhere. The only thing I have even close to road racing experience is from playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with my buddies, and obviously that translates nothing to here on iRacing. The only thing I will say that doing any kind of racing on any game will teach you, especially, for example, a game like Grand Theft Auto racing there, it taught me hand-eye coordination. It made it the ability to analyze a move and stuff like that. And that's one of those things where you just kind of have to learn it yourself as the 1 and 0-0 go side by side again up through the S's. This time, the 1 car of Dwayne Culberson going to make that work. He makes the pass successfully up through the S's on the 0-0 of Nick Hunt. A good aggressive move there by the 1 to make that pass, and a good job by both of them to keep it clean.
Yeah, it is, because, coming up that S's, you've got to be very, very steady coming up through there. If not, you're going to run right into each other as they go through the bus stop. Now we're going to see if Dwayne can actually pull away here for the 0-0. It looks like he can just a little bit. So it's usually a lot of times you're riding behind a guy for so long. You're faster than him. Patience does play a factor here. I mean, even in the closing laps, you have to have patience in a road racing. You can't come in with the mentality of, I'm going to just come in here guns a-blazing. If you do, you're going to end up in there in a sand pit somewhere. You got to have that patience. And you talk about eye-hand coordination. Definitely something you got to have too, Ryan, here. That helps because, like I say, you're always on your toes with the turns, the shifting, and the braking, and the throttle.
Yeah, and like I said, obviously, racing on a game like Grand Theft Auto doesn't translate at all, really, other than maybe minor things that you can learn from something like that. But in my opinion, any racing you do on anything is really, it helps when you get to this, because learning to drive on iRacing is not easy to do at all. But if you have, little skills that you have built up elsewhere, those things can be used to help you out in learning here on iRacing. And obviously hand-eye coordination as a rookie in the street stocks is one of those things that you either have it or you don't. And thankfully, because of racing elsewhere, I did somewhat have it when I was a rookie here 2 years ago. So
absolutely. We'll tell you what, it's awesome. And I hope everyone's enjoying this kind of insightful style racing here. We've been able to bring to you I think it's been a good race here for the road course so far for the Xfinity Series here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com. As right now, Eric Test still the man out front. As our laps are winding down here, we're at lap 39 of 44. We're going to have 4 laps to go this time by. Seems like an eternity around this track when you're running a minute 14s, minute 12s, and you're sitting there going, wow, come on now. Can we hurry up? But if everything goes to plan, 17-second leads what Eric Test has over Cameron Hearn. So, like I say, I hope everybody's enjoyed it so far. Appreciate it. Definitely a different style of call-in of race that we normally do, Ryan. But, hey, that's road racing.
Yeah, and you know, I've had a lot of fun. Oh, we have a big crash in turn 1. It was the 51 and the 20 got together, it looked like.
All right, let's go back on that here. Let me see if I can't find a 51 right fast.
Might have been the 51. I think it was. Yes, it was. 51.
All right, let me go back on him right now. All right, 51 and the 20, they're back there battling. Coming in on the last turn right here, it looks like. And they're doing a nose to tail. Is it going to come off into turn number 1? Looks like that's Davis Richards, and the 51 machine is going to dive down the inside. And that number 20 is going to be Ethan Kurtz. Ethan just, now, something I haven't mentioned all night long, braking. Brake BIOS, folks, is another term that we haven't used. And brake fade is something these guys don't have to deal with. Road racers do. Brakes probably become more of a factor, obviously, than tires do over time, because you're on the brakes a lot. And brake BIOS can set that rear end up, or it can set your front end up. I always used to like running towards the rear because I wanted that car to be as stable when I went into the brakes as hard as I could, because I was a little more heavier braking than most guys were. But if you have it set up in a certain way, yeah, obviously if you get too hard on the binders, it can set that rear end around. Brake fade, just real quick on it. That's brakes, basically what these guys, Martinsville would come to mind. That would be the only track that they would probably run of a few that they would have to worry about brakes heating up. That's what I'm talking about, the brakes just going away. You go to mash them, go for a turn, guess what? Car don't stop.
Yeah, and you're right. Brake fade, or you know, obviously just brake failure in general on these cars are starting to happen. Whoops. Sorry about that, folks.
You fall out your seat.
No, I jacked the volume up by accident instead of switching cameras on my simulator, and for a brief moment, someone cussed right as I hit the button. I was worried it was going to come across on the stream, but definitely right now, I mean, brake fade is going to be one of those things that's coming to a factor here. 2 laps to go, obviously, next time by. Eric Tesh still working his way right now through the carousel up at the south end of the racetrack, and it really, he's just got to take it easy for right now. But I would say right now the best battle we have on the track is the 99 and the 87, Mason Wetzel and Keith Haney battling for the 4th and 5th spot.
Yep, absolutely. Those guys are coming up the S's right there as they're heading down to the bus stop right fast. That 99 machine, he has got Keith Haney right there close enough. He's in striking distance of anything that might happen. Hate to hear that on the Colton Lane out there. Says, man, he went through the bus stop, downshifted too much, boom, blew it up sky high. That's another thing that can happen here. You've got to hit the RPM just right when shifting. That's something the GT3 cars have. Electronics is their best friend. Those cars will not let you shift until you're in a certain RPM or off the throttle going into the turn. Whereas one of these cars, well, guess what? You can just yank it down in the gear anytime you want and go. So electronics, they have a massive amount of electronics over there in those cars inside that those guys have. Obviously a lot more technical, advanced style car, just like an F1 machine, as opposed to a stock car. Not to say it don't have tech in it, but nowhere near what some of them other road race machines do. And we're watching this battle here because you're right, because in another lap, we're going to get the white flag here for Eric Tesh, who's got a 20-second lead. He has just set out and blistered this field all race long.
Yeah, Eric has had a great run tonight and been, really, he's led from the drop of the green. I don't believe anybody else led a lap because he pit after the 67 of Cameron Hearn did, and Cameron, I believe, would have been the only driver, him or Nate Treadle, in striking distance had the 96 pitted before they did, and obviously he didn't. So Eric, as you just said, led from the drop of the green, been out front, just been stout, ever continuing to expand his lead when and wherever possible. And you think about it, 20 laps ago we were talking maybe Cameron Hearn would have the chance here as we're now coming to the white flag, or I believe we will already be at the white flag for Eric Tesh, who's up at the top. But we were talking maybe Hearn would be able to catch up, and obviously we were proven wrong on that one.
Absolutely. Well, Cameron has tried to do everything, but the battle's heating up here for the 4th and 5th spot. Keith Haney as they cross the line. You're right. The white flag's out for Eric Tesh here. We're watching this battle for 4th and 5th because Eric Tesh is out there 22 seconds ahead. And Nate Trito. But, boy, look at the back end. There's Keith Haney. They go up the S's. Let's see if these guys, man, if he's going to try to make that pass and hold on for it. A good battle right here for the 4th and 5th spot.
Yeah, up at the front, the 96 of Eric Tesh heading into turns 8 and 9, the last two corners. But you're right, the battle is still on between the 87 and the 99.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys, man, are on as they head through the bus stop here. As definitely he's got a few more times than he is. As the checkered flag is going to fly for the man, Eric Tesh. We're watching the battle here coming to the line. Normally, any other place, they would be up there the leader. Once he had a 20-second lead, me, I'm going to stay back here with this battle for 4th and 5th to the end because we know the man Eric Tesh just took the win tonight with Cameron Hearn in second and Nate Trito third. But we're undecided coming to the last turns here. As like you said, they're coming out of the last turn. Is Keith Haney going to try to dive in there as they're going to come out of here one more time? He's not going to be able to get it done on that 99 as he protects that inside lane. Look at that. Mason Witzel is a drag race to the line and hangs on to it over Keith Haney right there. What a finish for the 4th and 5th. But our hats off to our winner tonight. That man in the 96 machine, Eric Tesh, the Iceman for the Netherlands. Put it on pole, led here, and guess what, folks? He led every lap of the race.
Yeah, great showing tonight by the 96 of Eric Tesh. Able to stay up there all night long, led all the 44 green flag laps. Obviously no cautions here at the road course, but how about that battle? You're right, Joe, between Mason Wetzel and Keith Haney. Keith gave Mason a little bit of the bump in the final corner, tried to do everything he could to try to get around that 99 and a drag race to the finish line, but a good battle there for the top 5, and Eric he's going to be ecstatic, I would say, to have led this entire event.
Oh, yes, he will. He definitely is. He came out here. He tried to do everything he could, and he did do everything. He pulled that thing off, and a phenomenal victory. Put it on pole, led every lap. So, hey, that's the way you want to get your first win here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com Xfinity Series, is by coming out here, leading every lap, putting it on pole, burn them down there, young man. But I tell you what, you got the right to do it here tonight because you definitely put that thing out front and was bad fast.
Yeah, Eric Tesh, just amazing speed tonight. It definitely shows, obviously could be considered one of the road course ringers here at Extreme. And Eric put on a show tonight, led, like we said, drop to the green, and his first win here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com couldn't possibly be bigger for that 96, I would say.
Yep, absolutely. Well, let's bring up our third place man here tonight. That's going to be the hard charger, Nate Trito.
All right. Nate Trito, this is Ryan Daniels in the OSR Network booth. Do you have a copy?
10-4.
Well, Nate, you were my pick to win this race tonight. You were able to bring it home in third position in that 97. How was it out there?
Oh, you definitely had to wheel. This setup was on edge. If you ran it just the wrong way, it was very, very hard to contain. But it was a lot of fun out there tonight. Watkins Glen. I love road course racing every once in a while. So this doesn't hurt to do. And I was just by myself. I made too many mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. The car was very line sensitive, and I was not very good at all. So it was a lot of fun, though.
Well, for his not doing as well as you think you did, I give you all the credit in the world for being able to bring that machine home in third, and really good run out there for you and that whole BFS racing team with Solar Flare, and anybody out there you want to thank for a great run here at Watkins Glen.
Barricade Flash Service for hopping on board, all the guys on Solar Flare, Jake, Dwayne, Sifford, even though he wasn't here, but it was a really fun race.
All right, well, we thank you for coming up here and talking with us, and we look forward to seeing you again next week and possibly tomorrow in the Cup Series.
Yeah, we'll see you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Ryan, I'll tell you what, man, seems like a little rejection in his voice. Thought he might have had it here tonight, but hey, nothing to really, man, be unproud of because he did an awesome job inside that car. But let's bring up our second place man here, Cameron Hearn.
Cameron Hearn, this is Ryan Daniels from the OSR Network booth. Do you have a copy?
10-4, gotcha.
Well, Cameron, we saw you have a good run out there tonight in that 67 machine, and thought maybe when you and the 97 pitted before Eric Tesh did, you got it down to a 8.5 second gap to the 96. What did you need to do differently tonight, do you think, to try to catch Eric, who was just utterly dominant, basically, tonight at Watkins Glen?
Yeah, I guess if we switch drivers, it's kind of a chance.
Hey, Cameron.
Yes, sir.
Your mic is messed up. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
It's better.
Sounds like a robot's what it sounded like. Kind of like a little staticky. Wait, folks, he's trying to get his mic. I want him to get the best interview he can now.
It's only fair.
Absolutely. Oh well, yeah. He said he tried to do the interview, but that's okay. Well, we'll try to get a call with him here, maybe tomorrow night or so. See if he gets that technical difficulties straightened out or whatnot. But hey, again, congratulations, hats off to him on that second place victory there, or second place running. My bad, but very happy with it. He did a phenomenal job there all night long to hang on to that car. But we know another guy did a phenomenal job. Man, going to bring up here, that's Eric Tesh here. Iceman for the Neverlands, tonight's winner here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com. Watkins Glen. Eric Tesh, Joe in the booth, got a copy?
Get you loud and clear, Joe.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got to be one happy camper out there tonight. You put it on pole. Oh, and by the way, you won at Watkins Glen for your first win here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com. And by doing so, you put it on pole, led every lap, and was just a terror out here. So the road racing stuff that you're doing is paying off out there, and you definitely look like the Iceman for the Neverlands. Again, congratulations for the win here at Watkins Glen. Take us through how that car felt.
Well, it was when the tires were cold, it was really sliding and itchy around. When the tires came on the right temperature, well, it we all the way fine. We called it go flat out just to save tires. But because we are racing and you can't hot lap each lap with these tires because they're just like, I don't know, gummy bears. So you need to be patient and save them all the way around. And lucky, and I figured out how I did it on the Glen.
Well, you didn't try to get out and start trying to chew on any tires, did you?
No. Just, I knew I was quicker than everyone else around me. But then you need to know how much you can push to stay in the lead and stuff like that. And we figured it out really quick. And I think that Cameron was stuck behind the second place guy. I don't know who it was at the beginning of the race, but it really helped me on the long run. Yeah,
it definitely was out there in the long run. And, you look phenomenal out there. We were talking about it at the beginning of the race. You put it out there on pole. Obviously, it's your first win here in ExtremeMotorsports99.com. Definitely congratulate you on that one. I know you've had some bad luck, so to speak. This should actually qualify you for the chase. I don't know how all the other running stuff goes, so don't hold me to that. I know you've started a lot of races. Unfortunately, had some connection issues with a few and not been able to finish them. So that's just something you got to get up with the admins and all. But, hey, you won. You got anybody out there you want to thank for tonight?
I just want to thank everyone, especially the guys on the track. They made the show together with me. They were really nice and, they gave everyone space. Great racing around me. And I want to thank, of course, David Richards and Matt Hoover for being in that team.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Eric. Again, congratulations. It's always a pleasure. Oh, yeah. I had you picked again tonight, so you broke that announcer's curse, by the way.
Oh, yes.
I knew that'd make you happy on that one. All right, good deal, man. Hey, the Iceman for the Neverlands. We say the man, you ain't going to probably find too many people that's not as dedicated as you are to sim racing, because you do it usually a lot in the week and about 5-6 hours ahead of us here in the States. So again, congratulations for the win here at Watkins Glen, ExtremeMotorsports99.com.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, well, we got Cameron Hearn back here. Let's see if we can round two and try it again.
All right. Cameron Hearn, this is Ryan Daniels in the OSR Network booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, you guys got me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Awesome.
All right, Cameron, to reiterate the question that I was asking before, you looked really strong out there tonight in that 67, able to bring it home in second. We thought at one point after the pit stops, you and the 97 of Nate Trito were both pitted before the 96 of Eric Tesh, and thought maybe you guys would have the chance to catch him there, able to get the gap down to 8.5 seconds. What did you need to do differently to try to run down that 96 machine tonight?
I guess the only thing I could have done is maybe switch drivers. I mean, he was gone from the get-go, and I was thinking, man, he's going fast, and he just kept going fast. He really didn't fall off like the rest of the field. I was hoping, I mean, the only way I had a chance, just racing for second at the beginning, the only way I had a chance is maybe some misfortune come his way. But yeah, he was dominant. End of the day, though, top 5 of road course, these aren't my favorites, so coming home second, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, you definitely put on a strong performance there in that number 67, bringing it home in second. Obviously doing the points well for you here in the Xfinity Series. And there anybody out there you want to thank for being able to wheel that machine home in second tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Alliance Racing Group. Learned a lot in practice, kind of helped me out. I was second off the pace, an hour worth of practice. They got me up to speed, Mike and Richie. Thank you guys putting on the show that you guys do. I know a lot of people love watching out there. My dad watches every week. Extreme Motorsports 99 for all the work they do, and all the admins that spend a lot of time that go behind the scenes a lot of people don't know about. So I just appreciate everybody puts time and effort into keeping things going.
All right, well, we definitely appreciate you coming up here and talking with us. Congratulations again on the second place finish, and we look forward to talking to you again really soon. And heck, maybe tomorrow night will be your night in the Extreme Cup Series.
I hope so. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, sir. All right.
Ryan. Well, I hear the
Sorry.
ambulance outside. That's fine. I hear the ambulance outside. They're coming for you. Well, what a race. That's all I can say. Let's go to results order, because the Iceman from the Neverland pulls off the victory tonight here. Eric Tesh, Cameron Hearn, we just spoke to him, coming in second. Nate Trito in third. Mason Witzel in fourth. And as you hear the ambulance goes by, they're going after Ryan, by the way. And Keith Haney in fifth. Bryce Senesack in sixth. Mike Franklin in seventh. Matt Hoover in eighth. Waylon Lamb in ninth. And Dwayne Cummison rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, Nick Hunt being able to power that number 00 home to the 11th spot. John Houston in 12th. Tyler Daniels in 13th. Aiden Young in 14th position. Mike Rominger in the top 15. Davis Richards in 16th. David Elliott in 17th. Richie Evans in 18th. Daniel Haney in 19th. And James Haney rounding out the top 20.
Man, 21st position right now. Nicholas Caldwell, Ethan Curtis in the 22nd. Colton Lane, 23rd. Mason Kane, 24th. Ryan Broderick, 25th. Matthew Wazenbach, 26th. And that's going to round out our top field right there. Well, it was an awesome road course race, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. Loved the commentating of it, because, man, I enjoyed calling this style race. It's always a pleasure. But we got more of it tomorrow night here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com for Cup Series. Some of the best here in Extreme and around iRacing, for that matter. We'll be here tomorrow battling it out here at Watkins Glen. Ryan, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like tonight was an awesome race. I was very happy to finally be back here at OSR Network after us having an off week, and I don't think I was here for the race before last. I can't remember. It's been a while. Very busy.
You were laying out.
Okay, I don't remember. It's been very busy when we're not on the stream, folks. But just great to be back. Just want to thank everybody here at Extreme for letting me and Joe do this tonight. And again, congratulations to the 96 of Eric Tesh on his first career win here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, like Ryan just said, reiterated, appreciate everybody coming out here. We'll see you tomorrow night at 1. Have a good night.